Shalom, shalom. This is Shalomah from the Great Millstone, Atlanta Camp. Before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach Kodash. Double honor to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone that teach and rule well. Peace, love, and safety to the hopeful elect. And I just want to, just something that I was thinking of today, thinking about the angels, the images of the angels. We angels can change shape, form, and they have heavenly powers, spiritual powers. They operate the chariots. They can move at unbelievable speeds. And not only that, they have the power to actually listen to your prayers and send your prayers back to Yahweh Shai. And Yahweh Shai gets them approved through Yahweh. Okay. So, I just want to go into the images of the angels. And then again, the scriptures say that the angels can look like humans. All right. So you have different angels according to the scripture. You have cherubims and seraphims. The cherubims have 4 wings. The seraphims have 6 wings. Okay. So I want to start with this Ezekiel chapter 1. This one number 1 scripture that describes the chariots and the angels. But let's get right to the point. Okay, verse 5. Ezekiel 1:5, it says, "Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures." And this was when the Lord came up to Ezekiel in the chariot. He said it was a wheel inside of a wheel. And, it talks about all the characteristics of it. And, it was a so-called UFO, so a flying saucer. And then it had angels on the outside. Now, I truly believe, almost know that I've seen an angel. But it was in a form of fire. So basically, one evening, I had my sons in the car with me, and my oldest son, he said, "Hey, Dad, what is that?" It kind of like freaked him out, and it was a large fireball. It was right above the trees. It went right over us, but it was moving at a ridiculous speed, and it was pulsating. And I'm like, man, I bet that was an angel. And then other people have recorded those fireball images. I truly believe those are angels in the image of fire. Okay. But continuing on, it says, verse 6. Well, verse 5, I'm going to read that again. It says, "Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man." So they was made up like a man. And it says, "And everyone had 4 faces. Everyone had 4 wings." So it had 4 faces and 4 wings. So it said that and their feet were straight feet. The sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. Now they didn't have like feet. They probably had on boots, because angels are built for war. Okay, they probably had boots on. So I pulled this image up online right here. And yeah, it's kind of close to it. You see his boots. Then he got the 4 wings. And then he got the face of the different beasts. Okay. All right. And then it says, and they had the hands of a man under their wings. On their 4 sides, they 4 had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went, and they went every one straight forward. So they was like moving in the same spirit. Okay, guiding the chariot of Yahweh when he came to Ezekiel. It says, verse 10, as for the likeness of their faces, they forehead the face of a man, the face of a lion. On the right side, they forehead the face of an ox. On the left side, they forehead the face of an eagle. Okay, and it also describes the four beasts in Revelations 4. Okay, it says, thus were their faces, and their wings were stretched upward. Two wings of every one were joined one to another, and two covered their bodies. So they had wings covering up their bodies, and then they had wings that was joined together, guiding the chariot. Now, when you go to Isaiah 6, it also explains the seraphims with 6 wings. All right. So let's go to Isaiah chapter 6 and verse 2. It says, above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twine he covered his face, and with twine he covered his feet. And twine means 2, by the way. And with twine he did fly. So he had 2 covering his face, 2 covering his feet, and then the other 2 was used to fly. So if you ever look at what was that movie? I think dude was like a large like roach or something. Geez, what was that movie? Jeepers Creepers. How that thing had the wings and it was covering his body up. I think it was like on the first one. Can't remember. I haven't seen that movie in like 30 years, but I do remember that part of it. Not saying the angels look like that, but he had wings covering his body. Okay, but they can also they can change themselves to look just like all human with no wings. And some of us have probably seen, angels out. I remember one time, me and my wife, we was out at the beach, and this guy appeared, and we was looking at chariots. It was a clear sky. It was a beautiful night. Stars were bright, and weather was, it was just perfect. It was probably about 11, 12 o'clock. And this guy just appeared, and he was like, what are y'all looking at? We're like, oh, yeah, we're just looking at the stars. It's beautiful out here. And he was like, oh, yeah. He said something and walked off. So as we looked back up at the sky, the guy kind of just disappeared. And I went down the street saying, where could this guy have gone? It's nothing out here. He just, just left. But it could have been, just some old man walking down the street late at night. Then again, it actually could have been an angel. So that's why the scriptures, when you go to Hebrews 13, it talks about brotherly love, because some of these people that you're dealing with could actually be angels, in a human form. Okay, so let's go to, and I'm going to wrap it up on this scripture. I just wanted to do a quick one. Hebrews 13, and I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. So, yeah, you probably been walked up on by an angel. And if you was an asshole having a bad day and, was being disrespectful, that report got turned back to Yahweh Shai. But if you was actually a loving brother, a sister, or a child, and you was humble, and you just showed a lot of respect, and probably cracked a little joke, laugh, probably passed them and said good morning or something, Probably sparked a little conversation. But yeah, that report probably went back as well. Hey, this is a pretty humble guy. Let's go ahead and grant his prayers. So it's no telling. We don't know who's amongst us. But the scriptures do clearly say that we have been around angels and didn't know. So they can change form from man to that their angelic form. Okay, but that was pretty much it. Also, the scriptures go into how the angels don't marry, so they don't have sex. They there just to do the work of the Lord. So they look like humans. They can transform into humans or have the appearance of what was described in Ezekiel and also Revelations 4. So hey, that was just pretty much just stay humble and be respectful. Even if it's an Edomite, scriptures say, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. Might be an angel disguised as Esau. You never know. So, but yeah, also going back and everybody's seen this video. The guy was describing the men that got off the large ship. This guy was like a government official, somebody. He was being interviewed by the lady. He said they had like dark skin. They looked black. And it was another person from the government on a different interview said that they looked like African Americans that got off this large ship. Like they had weapons. And he said that the way that they act, they look like they've never been conquered. Like they're the conquerors. And that's exactly what it is. Because the Lord said they call him the Lord of hosts, the Lord of armies. And his angels are his soldiers. Okay, so I'm going to end it. I pray this lesson was edifying. I'm going to end it by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rachakwadash. Double honor to my elders and apostles, a great millstone that taught us his truth. Shalom to the elect.